Alright, everyone, this weekend, Shane. Now, I'm trying to give some people a chance to use their common sense, which they don't seem to have. And want to convict me of living with a 4-year-old for a couple days, which wasn't my choice.
Alright, everyone, it's 9 a.m., 10/11/2017. I've been, good morning, everyone. Me, Shane, another day, another dollar. Hello. So, have another good night's sleep. I slept about 3:30 this morning. Just got up. Been bed around 11, so that's about 4.5 hours. I don't think it's good. So, itching off my thighs. Usually unless you're around poison ivy or something, you don't, my disability is not, probably painful not to be around. So I'm tripping from that. So let's see what we're waiting. And of course, I'm going to show you my keys are in the same place I left them last night. Alright. I'm 313.2 pounds going down. Almost a full 5 pounds. Like I told you before, your keys do not get up and move around. They say, now, if you're suggesting move them back and forth between the bedroom and the keyboard, to the point. I'm controlling where I put them, see, and they don't move around. Right? Alright. I'm turning on the fan this morning.
Maybe, I don't know. Maybe you won't trust me to confess it if you don't know. Like you said, no.
Alright, anyway, everything was good morning. Good morning. Bye-bye. Good morning, everyone. Me, Shane, another day, another dollar. Alright, this is just to show a few of the cans I have from yesterday, which is a cheerwine, and two, fruit punch. Now, alright, I'm cooking me a pizza for tonight. I'm going to show you some of the things in my fridge. I think Coleman took a cheerwine and a fruit punch, so I'm sure. But anyway, this is our fridge. I got 2 waters, 2 mug root beers, and 2 Tahitian cherry fruit punch. Now, I think I had 2 more. So the other one was a Tahitian cheerwine. But it's sort of empty. So I had one for lunch and then one for dinner. And I had a water. I thought I did it for the meeting or something. But anyway, just letting you know what's in my fridge a little bit. Have a nice day. Bye-bye. Good afternoon, everyone. I took me a nap, set my keys on my piano, and guess what? They're in the same green place. They ain't moved an ounce, or an inch, or a millimeter, or an inch of an inch. They're what? Right where I left them. That's all. Nothing doesn't get stuck and fall. Now, okay, I was there the other day on the other side, and, you know, even if I set them on the foot, they're going to stay on the foot. Now, this is just to explain why my theory is someone was in my house and took my keys from my house. Right? Does it prove who did it? No. But it does prove the theory that someone did actually remove them from my house, right? They could have made copies of my keys so that they can come in at any time, right? Especially when I'm out the house. Alright, I also showed you the other day that they messed with my cable box and things like that too, right? Now the Comcast one, so not the AT&T one, but yeah. It's just to show that. Now also, looks like my leg is getting a little red at the top, and again, I'm doing my normal routine, right? Now, like I keep telling the person, you can't tell when I turn on my water what I'm doing. I can be washing, I can be showering my hair, I can be brushing my teeth, right? You hear my water on for longer than a minute, don't worry about it. I'm doing what I'm doing. Again, the only way you can hear it is
Now this is still wet hair. I took a shower this morning, but I keep wetting it, retard.
Big brother now. Honor keeps the innocent and the guilty. Now, I'm still baiting the guys, the people who's attacking me, so I'll need it. Now, the thing is, they're coming after me for a 23-year ago possible encounter between me and my stepfather when I was sleeping on the couch. And here's what they're saying now. If the NSA agent took over my channel and told you that you were going to be prosecuted and charged in court, then yeah, the government is pretty obsessed with you. He is now trying to act like NSA. Hey, NSA is a thing. I'm thinking TSA, right? Well, NSA is a different organization, and no organization is going to tell you over the internet, oh, fly to Washington, which is what you were saying earlier, right? If someone wants you and wants to arrest you in the government, they will come to your house, which my house address is up on mine, like Thomas's is 92 Double Jones Court. This is Thompson is 38, and then I got some new neighbors down at 36. And Barbara is, I think, 4? Probably does 4. Just some people I know. In the neighborhood. Now, alright, I made it home. It's 12:26 p.m. It's Tuesday, 10/10/2017. My range is 109 miles. And everything's looking good from the outside. I'm gonna lock the doors. Alright, I made it to the State Farm office. Everything looks fine here. He's got all the information correctly. 11:47 a.m. It's Tuesday, 10/10/2017. The range is 122. So that's about 147 from 22 is about 15. Right? Okay, so it should take about 15 miles. 15 miles to make it back or so.
25 miles. Might not get it or be there.
Alright, it's me, Shane Lee again. Sorry, my video got cut off a little bit. So I got my keys for my car. Put them on the piano. Sorry. And they're still here. The keys don't just walk off and move away. Unless someone moves them physically. They usually stay where you put them. If they don't, someone moves them. That's why it's about moving. They don't just walk off. That's the whole problem. Don't care. So anyway, we'll make sure everything's the same way I left it. I'm not sure. You can fight fire with fire sometimes. You have to. They're going to record me. I can record myself leaving my own house regards. We all got cameras now. Fire with fire. Fire with fire. You record, I record. There's nothing to change. And there won't be to forget you, which is why I bug out multiple times during the day. Alright. The range is still 147. I gotta go to Fort Wentworth this morning. It's 9:51 a.m. at 10/10/2017, a Tuesday. Oh, good. Very good. Maybe I'm wrong. The problem isn't necessarily the women's business. More than the women want to say secrets to the weekend, right? See, that's the problem. If they're married, they don't want their wives or the community on their gay marriage. You know what I mean? And that's the problem too, right? Now, what's weird about someone giving you a $20 tip and signing a credit card receipt $8.90 a month, right? I'm not even making that, right? Now, if you make 9 months of $8.90 and you get a steady job, that's different. But if you make under $8.90, you're fine. That's correct, right? Alright, anyway, I'll talk to you later. Have a great day.
Now, my ex-boss, Tim, was working me under the table. Now, that's why when we had a dispute, I either had to quit or
Like I said
stay
earlier,
with him and I quit.
On my piano, they're still with me. Haven't moved since.
Now, if we have a dispute like that, I can't prove to him my point, and if his numbers are wrong, he can't prove to me his. Right? And I either have to quit because he's not paying me anything but under the table. And the reason he was is we had a verbal agreement that, and I knew as long as I wasn't making over $500, I didn't have to report it to the IRS anyway.
Your shit, you ain't going nowhere.
Actually, it's $8.90 now. They told me, right? But I didn't know that. I thought it was $500, so I was still working for him under $500 a month.
Right? No one. A logical brain, which even with paranoid brain, I can still be logical. Alright, I'm gonna go off with you, babe. Oh, damn. Going off. Have the kid away. Make sure we still doing your job. Alright, so right now I'm turning everything off in the house. Go off a little bit. Gotta take care of the business. Gotta make my water bill. Things of that nature. Alright. So let's say I'll put the keys right here. Do you think they would magically get up and walk away? I don't. But or fall down into the brook? I don't. Even with me moving around. Now, they're not
Now,
just,
yesterday I put my lock on my piano. It ain't moved, dumbasses. And
do this for the next one.
the other lock is down here on the floor
Stay home. Looks like I go somewhere. Have a nice day.
where it fell. Now, you see how easy I found that? Dumbasses.
Alright everyone, it's me and Shane. It's about 4 a.m. Like I told you the other day, keys do not get up and walk away when you put them in your normal place. Now, I'm going to put them on place else to prove to you too. On the piano. Alright. This here is my keys. They're still there since I put them there this morning. The time is, let's see. Yeah, the time is the training on Virginia. Other songs. So, it's whole point. Steve, Roddy, don't get up and walk away like Marcy said. Bye. Alright everyone, now since I put my in my table for the kids, and again, show you that within 24 hours they're in the same space.
Now I put them in the
Now,
bowl
I'm
of
gonna get
my
weight
dresser.
real
Right?
quick.
It's a light blue bowl,
To your scale.
and they were there all night. Right?
Now it was 318 and then 315 the other day. You know, it's down there from a wall. Now 311. Well, I'm already down 7 pounds. Or again. Well, let me do it again because I'm not sure if it's doing right.
Says,
That's probably a pound or two. I'll do it one more time.
now the nurse, when I went to her last week, said I was 318 pounds on the scale. All right. So that means I'm down about 6 to 7 pounds. And that's because I started walking more, had to walk down the Kroger and to catch the bus and things like that. And again, I lost the weight real quick. All right.
Body weight is 311.
And the bus stop is 4 miles away, so is the Kroger.
311 pounds. And that's the point. Must be toggling between 312 and 311. That's still down 6 pounds from 318 at the hospital, right? Or the VXN. So y'all have a nice day. Bye-bye. Alright, I made it back from my walk. Now the first thing I want to show you is there's no poison ivy or poison oak in my yard. Alright. Now, this might be some way in the back. That's it, folks. And again, you see I ain't cut my grass or anything. And I ain't even been back here in a long time either. This is my last time I cut my grass. So this is strange. I bought
That's my cable box, asshole. And it's a Comcast one, which doesn't even have service with me
This is
anymore.
Comcast. This is AT&T. Alright.
But the grass was cut last month or so, and it's weird that it's opened, and I ain't been back there in about a month or two. Or a month and a half,
I
maybe.
ain't been back here in a while. So you see what I mean? Some of the stuff is fucked up. And that's the whole point. They were still hot. I make sure my car's locked. Before I go in. Afternoon, how you doing? Yep. Yep. Sometimes you gotta fight fire with fire. I'm fighting this as a business. Alright. This here is my keys. They're still there. I'm putting them on me. Alright, everyone. Now, this, I put my keys in my table there. I'll put them here. And again, show you that within 24 hours they're in the same space. Now, I'm gonna get my weight real quick. That means you figure scale. Now, alright, I made this back for my walk. Now, the first thing I want to show you is this. Alright, like I told you yesterday, I set my keys on the table. Guess where they're at? They're moving all night long. At the same location. Asshole! Asshole! Now, another thing I might need to do is start to show you where I'm leaving my keys. Today I have them on the table where I eat on dinner or lunch or breakfast, right? Now, again, this is I came home, opened the door, put the keys here, they're here, right? Just move for 24 hours, right? Well, if I want to go for another walk, and then I'll show you that too, and lock the door again too. Now, again, this is just, stuff you normally do, right? In your house. And they're acting all crazy, so I gotta act crazier or smarter than them too. How you wanna see it? I don't know. Have a nice day.
I don't know.
Alright, I made it back from my walk. I did
Because he knows it's not me and my child.
33 steps. Average pace was 3:1:55 miles. That's being a pig. And again, so that's what I mean. They're fucking with me. They're fucking with your technology too. Yeah. That's proof of it. They're not wanting me to say, how far I walked, right? Which was 39 minutes. I looked at it, but it was recently for... Now, like I said, this one sucks, right? So, it won't keep the time. You just walk, right? And you only have a brief time to figure it out. Then it'll delete it for you, I guess. Just to watch itself.
Now, again, a lot of these videos are just to prove that my keys don't move around, because they're in the same place I left them when I came home earlier today. And that's the point. I mean, these people have got to be idiots who are moving my stuff around during broad daylight. And my problem is, I don't remember what happened, but I know where I put my keys. Every time. I don't have a problem putting my keys where they belong and finding them every other day for last week. So, see what I mean? Now, this is the only way I can prove to the police department that they stole the keys and put them back in the apartment or the house. Now, going to put them in my bedroom. And unless someone comes in, they should again stay there all night. Now, oops. And that's the whole point there. Nothing moves on its own. A human being has to pick it up and move it. And I don't believe that ghosts, unless they're an orb ghost, exist, which is a little white ball. Mm-hmm. I do believe that people are trying to scare you that they do. But according to some beliefs or myths, your soul is sent on to either Nirvana, paradise, whatever you want to call it, right? Bosom of Abraham, to some, Delusion Fields to some, whatever. There's a good place, good people go, and then a bad place, bad people go, right? That's all I know. I've heard the same thing through many cultures I've studied into, right? And they all seem similar. Now, some may hear the dead. I'll give you that. And the Witch of Endor claimed to have seen Samuel, too, in his mantle, right? Now, only she saw Samuel, right? But I can't say other people, like with the Sixth Sense, don't see dead people, too, I know. But dead people don't move like this. They don't cast shadows. I'm alive. I'm alive. I'm alive when the world is just good. Yeah, alright. I'm alive. That's a little ELO from Xanadu. Xanadu, Xanadu, it's so here, it's Xanadu. That's Olivia and John from Xanadu. So anyway, that's the whole point, alright? Now, some people are either tone deaf or just being complete jerks about what I'm doing, right? I don't care, you can't prove I'm not following the rules of copyright, which says you can teach songs for educational value. I am. You might not like it because you think it's a totalitarian law or something, where only your artist or your record label can produce the song. No! That's not true. Hear that, hear that. There are certain guidelines you can teach it under, right? Usually it's a 10-second clip, and you can comment on it, and you can critique it. Now, you can even use other songs if you're trying to teach, like I am, impersonation, right? Nothing wrong with that, nothing illegal about that. And again, when Jimmy Fallon is using the clips he's using during his act, he's still infringing on the melody, right? Now, like the Beach Boys, if you even sound like them and sing a similar type song, like with Vanilla Ice and David Bowie and all that, they'll see it, right? Unless you're doing it for what? Educational purposes, like I am, right? There's no proof I'm not trying to teach you valid music lessons from different genres, including the Baptist hymnal, my time in school, and things like that, where I was in both band and chorus, and things of that nature. Now, I admit I only have a high school education in that. That's the point. And I know you're just lying dickheads. That's all I can say, or pussies. Not meaning females. Meaning the males. And you got the people kowtowing to you. That's a problem. That's a problem. That's what I mean. So anyway, if he stops responding like he is, I'll stop some of what I'm doing. I'll still teach you to sing, alright? That's valid. That's valid. But anything else, unless he makes it an issue, I won't talk about it anymore. Me and Daphne, if something happened, would have dealt with it 23 years ago, not wait till now to deal with it. Because there's no proof after 23 years anything happened. This he said, she said, she said, she said, right? That's the problem too. Now, if you get someone currently on tape, right, acting in an aggressive manner towards a child verbally and seducing someone and trying to get them to come into their motel room like Harvey did, that's on tapes, right? All I think I would have said if a child were to come in there to me is, who showed you that? And ask her a specific question. If she answered me, which she might could have said grandma or something of that nature, because everyone knew she was living with her grandma. Salvador knew it, Daphne knew it, and I knew it, right? And Salvador's girlfriend or wife, right? I don't know what she was at the time, but yeah. Everyone knew where the child was staying when she got to Virginia. And Salvador took her for about 3 to 4 days too, right? So you can't change these facts unless you're just freaking lying, right? And I was sleeping on the couch as soon as Daphne got home. Period. For 4 days. Right? To 5 days. I don't know. Right? I'm guessing some of how the length of it to no more than the following Monday. Because when you're living in an apartment with your wife and you need to get back on base, you have to first talk to the chief on base. Right? And then you tell him what happened between you and your wife, that we got into an argument on the way to pick up her daughter in Tennessee, right? And you need a room, right? Then, after that, you sleep on the couch to avoid any confusion between you and your wife about what's about to happen. You're trying to move back to base, right? That whole living room becomes your privacy area, right? The child and the mother have to stay in their room until what? The mother can invite me back into her room, but I have to invite her to sleep on the couch. You see what I mean? That's just for one person. That's why I didn't take the other bedroom. Told you that before. That's what most men who are confused about their wife's behavior do when they start acting aggressive, blocking your way from a door, things of that nature. You have to make other plans. Now, there's no way you can spin this if this has been my constant story. I'm sleeping on the couch. The child comes in there to me, possibly, if Coach too, right? And I would have to ask her legally, who showed you that? And if she answered Grandma or something of that nature, that means several people could have coached her, even those at Grandma's house. Now, the thing about using the word grandma is either she was told to, you know what I mean? Right. You can say grandma if someone were to ask you, or something of that nature. And we all knew she was living with the grandma. You know? That's what I mean, right? Brandon, Crystal, Marceline, Roddy, I mean everyone knew that child was living with her grandma for 2 to 3 years, right? And that's why she married me, as a matter of fact. Her mother would not let her bring her to Virginia unless she had a husband. And don't you think that's why she married me? Right. Now what ruined it was the trip to pick her up. Right? But the grandma still let her take her back. Right, because, yeah, I'm going to stay with someone who leaves me stranded in Tennessee. Okay. She must have convinced her or something like that. I don't know. I wasn't there. I didn't even make it there. Silly. So, again, someone would have had to convince her to let Daphne take the child to Virginia. I don't know who that would be. That's all I'm guessing from this point on, right? Not naming names, right? I don't know what made Barbara agree to the terms, knowing her daughter left me in Tennessee, right? See what I mean? And I had to call my mom to get her to wire me some money to make it back home, right? And I was home by that following evening, right? On a Saturday. We drove up there on a Friday, right? After work. We were hoping to get there before at least midnight, I guess. I don't know. I've never been there before, right? Though me and David did drive to Oklahoma, and I left Oklahoma, I don't know, which I think is before Arkansas, right? And drove to Georgia in about less than a day, 12 hours, 8 to 12 hours, somewhere in there, right? So that's what I mean. I don't know how long it takes to get there, because we left after work around at least by 5, right? So I know we're in Bucksnort around at least 8, but it was August, right? So the sun was still up, and we were going in different time zones too, right? So 8 became 7, you know what I mean? And then 7 would become maybe we got Eastern time, Mountain time, Central time, Mountain time, and then Pacific, right? I don't think Arkansas is Mountain time, but Central time, right? So anyway, we would gain an hour in going there, right? So by, say, 6 o'clock, we were in Tennessee, right? You know what I mean, right? Things of that nature, right? So it was still August, not daylight saving time either. Right? That's just little details no one really thinks about until, pursue about it, right? Now, I'm sleeping, again, like I said, on the couch because of the confusion, I know. And I don't know who convinced her to let her go home with Daphne, or how Daphne got her to do that, without, asking me would I even stay with her after that, right? If that was what was required, right? Was for her to be married in the first place, right? So I'm just a little confused about it all, right? That's what I mean. And making up a story don't prove a story, right? Without an eyewitness. So, let's say, the only other eyewitness would have been who? Daphne herself, right? Well, if she allows her 4-year-old daughter to come in there to a known paranoid schizophrenic, what is that normally called? Child endangerment, right? Now, here's what puzzles me. I just heard this in the news recently. A father is sleeping, laying down in his bed. His child comes home around the time school lets up. She's walking through the house, right? This is what they said. And he shot her in the chest and killed her, right? Now, that makes no sense, right? A, he was a felon and shouldn't have had a gun. And B, it's not usual to shoot your child when she's coming home around school time, right? Now, if the man's sleeping in the bedroom, why would he think, oh, it's not time for my daughter to come home from school? Normally, that's what a normal person would think anyway, right? So again, you don't shoot your daughter in the chest unless you're trying to kill her. See what I mean? That's murder. That is not even accidental murder, right? Because he knows what time she comes home from school normally, right? You get into a pattern with these things, right? Unless you just moved in with him or something, like I said. You cannot justify murder of an 11-year-old child, right? And again, and shooting her in the chest, right? When she normally gets home from school, right? There's no way to justify that. The father should get the death penalty himself, right? Because that's not even normal. That's not even normal. Something is just way off there, right? Now, I hope it's just a story. You never know with these things. But again, he should at least get the death penalty for that, because that's not an accident. It's all shooting, right? Because, he was ready to shoot someone, you know what I mean? Normally, you gotta what? Aim, pull the trigger, right? According to the story, he just shot her. Didn't look around. Didn't even aim. Right? Right. See a problem with that story? Just shot her in cold blood. So that don't even make sense, does it? Does it? Unless what? He shot her on purpose. That's how you can find if someone's lying or not. Put it in real time, right? All they're telling you is a short story with some of the details. Now, if you know all day long, right, Jesus was on the cross for 6 hours. How long is that normally? A long ass time. Before he died. From at least noon to around 6. And it was spring, right? So the days were starting to get longer, right? And even if it was around 6, it still wouldn't necessarily been night yet either when he died, right? So they pierced him through the chest with the spear to make sure he was dead and took him down from the cross, right? And Josephus, what was his name? not Josephus, but Joseph of Arimathea, God, I'm Lord, get confused, moves him to his new tomb, and again, he was raised according to the disciples' faith in him, or lack thereof, 3 days later, right? And then they sort of got a little boldened, but they taught more what Peter made them teach too, I think, right? And John said some weird things in the book of Revelations that if you're not listening to, you might miss a word or two in the Greek that changes the whole story. I know. And one of them is Mastois in Revelations 1:13, and another is like unto the Son of Man, right? Well, how can you be like unto the Son of Man? Either you're the Son of Man or you're not, right? See what I mean? There. I agree with the buttholes there. Either you're the Son of Man or you're not, right? But John said something a little different there, right? Which changes the whole impact of the whole gospel and also the Old Testament, right? Understanding of it, right? That's all I'm pointing out here, right? Now, of course, this makes a lot of people uncomfortable, and I know that, right? But that's all I can tell you. So, alright, I gotta cut my grass because they wrote me a letter. Right. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.